Hey friends, Terry Greer. It is December 30th, 2019, and I want to talk to you a little bit about an idea that I came up with. It's not necessarily revolutionary, but it's about keeping a journal, actually a physical journal that will document the next 10 years. We're at 2019 moving into 2020, and I didn't even think about the fact that we're closing out a decade, starting a decade, but somebody mentioned it earlier in the month, and I thought, man, and I'm a journaler, and I keep a bullet journal and all that jazz, and it got me thinking. It was just like, wouldn't it be cool? It's like, what did I do in the last 10 years? So what did I do? I took to my phone, and I started scrolling, looking through pictures, and trying to figure out, kind of piece together, oh yeah, I did do that, and I did do that, and da-da-da. And then that led me to the thought, what if this one journal that's got 250 pages of paper, if this one journal I kept for 10 years and I was able to kind of document. So think about this. At the end of this is actually what I'm going to do, and I'm going to share it with you to have your decade journal. And one last caveat before I get into the actual tactic is that, yes, it's convenient because I'm starting it on 2020 and it's a decade, but I guess if you find this video in the future and you want to do it, you can start it at any year, probably any time. But the idea is to go for a 10-year thing, time frame, I think. I am 51, and I think back in my 20s, my 30s, and my 40s. That's 30 years. And, you know, it's just like a blur. And sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done this, I write down the year and I just write a one line, kind of like where I lived and maybe a big event. Got married, bought a house, moved back from California, whatever it is for you. And I thought, man, if I had a book, if I could just pick up a book like this from my 20s and just look through it and be like, man, I did all that stuff. And it reminded me, because in my 20s, the internet barely fucking existed, right? I certainly didn't have an iPhone. And you think right now, oh, I'm putting all this stuff into my digital space. What if it didn't exist in 30 years? And then it's like, oh, well, and if you know that it's transitioning, how are you going to get all that data and move it and da-da-da when you just have this one little book with you? So that's my pitch. And here's how I'm actually going to tactically do it to make it, I think, of value. I am going to dedicate 1 page a month, and purposely 1 page per month, so that I can distill down, how was my month? How did I feel about my month? Did I do some of the things that I know are important to me, such as did I, spend quality time with my wife, which is kind of subjective? Did I go fishing? I love to fish. Did I fish enough? Am I playing golf? Did I read a book of value to myself? How is my health? What's my weight? Did I get a physical that month? Whatever they are, whatever it is, but just something to be like, okay, I'm doing these things. And so 1 page a month times 10 years, that's 12 times 10, that's 120 of those pages, right? And then I was thinking about doing a quarterly page, which might sound a lot. So at the end of the quarter, I kind of do a summary of like, hey, how was the winter? How was the spring? How was the fall? And then a year summary. So quarter, 4 times 10 is another 40. So it's 120 plus 40. That's 160, if I'm adding correctly. And then a summary page for the year. That's 10 more. That's 180. And, that leaves me 100, not even 100. That leaves me 50, 60, 70. It leaves me about 70, 80 pages if I think of other things I want to include, or if I want to have a free form about something, or maybe something of significance happens. Maybe, someone passes away, or I get a different job, or whatever the case may be. So that's my idea, and the idea is that at the end, then this is my favorite journal right here. If you look it up on Instagram, it's got the dots. It's an A5. It's a great brand. It's inexpensive. It's like $20, maybe $18 on Amazon. And it's just nice. It's a nice bound book. It's hard. So there you go. That's my idea for you to journal and to capture. And I think about that if I can get, I'm 50. Let's be optimistic, and I can live to 90. Unless I get more of this fat off me. It's going to be a press, right? So that gives me 30 more years. And then I could have 3 of these books that I could just look at and be like, wow. And it also, there's a value, if you haven't figured this out yet, I'm not sure how old you are, that there is an end of the game of life. Like life ends at a certain point, and that should motivate you that today is important. And today, I mean, you can have a day of doing nothing if you want, and some days you need that. You're sick, you have to self-heal, you have to do things, but most of the time you need to be doing things. You don't have to be doing things, I guess, but doing things in a positive way to give back and to self-care and to support the people you love and to do more things that you care about. Such as, this is my little pond. There's a church right here, and this is in my neighborhood, and this pond I fish at 2 or 3 times a week because I can just drive up, go fish for 15-20 minutes, clear my mind, and then go back home. It's a beautiful thing. So there you go. I'm not going to bore you much more with that. If you have any questions about it, if you're seeing this on, I put up my Instagram. Find me on Instagram. Hit me up on Instagram. If you're on YouTube, you can find me in the comments, or hit me up on Instagram if you want to DM me directly. I'd love to answer any questions you might have, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that. There again, you can do digital, but think about 30 years from now. Are you still going to have an iPhone? You might. Who knows? Wishing you the best. My name's Terry, and I appreciate you give me a few minutes of your time. Kick ass in the next 10 years, my friend. Kick ass. You won't regret it.